It's at this time of every year that football fans start to grow a huge smile across their face as pre-season kicks in and they know that the real action, the drama, is just around the corner. Well, 2021 is very different. The smile's wider, the anticipation heightened. After a whole season tied to the sofa, cut off from those faces and friends you make in and around grounds, on Tuesday night, the 994-day wait was over. Pre-season friendly at Retford would have meant nothing to many, but to Stags fans it meant everything. Last night the destination was Matlock Town, where beauty was truly in the eye of the beholder. As for many more, their wait for football and longing for all things Mansfield Town was over. The same was true for us at Mansfield-Matters. Okay, so me and Nathan had sort of reunited at Retford in passing, and Cam had joined me for the final day of the season in our pop-up gazebo outside. Nathan was a bit busy that day though, but it was the first time that all three of us were reunited. One day we might even get the four and get Simon too. You can't have everything, that's why we say ish. So, armed with the beautiful backdrop of Matlock Town, a camera and a microphone, it seemed too good of an opportunity to miss. To have a good old catch up on all things Stags. If you don't know why by now, then perhaps you never will.
Hello and welcome to a very unique Mansfield Matters podcast. Obviously we're not live, but you are watching this on our Facebook and YouTube pages. As you might be able to see behind us, we have got the fantastic backdrop of Matlock Town Football Club here tonight. First and foremost, let's give a massive shout out to Clive, who's been our cameraman for this. Clive, thank you very much. One of our long-time listeners, really appreciate it as well. Didn't really get much choice, otherwise he'd be walking home, but there you go. It's all well and good. And also, as you can see alongside me to my left, I've got Mr. 𝗂𝗱𝗲𝗏.
Good evening.
And also, it's like the three of us reunited for the first time in like 18 months. Mr. 𝗂𝗱𝗏𝗏.
Good evening.
I saw you, of course, on Tuesday at Retford, so you're probably sick of the sight of me now, even though you can't see.
I'm always sick of the sight of you. Yeah.
There you go, I thought I'd get that joke in nice.
I know you beat me too, I'm fuming.
There you go, well I had to get it in, seriously though, obviously on Tuesday, how nice was it just to sample in the atmosphere, crowds back at football after 16 treacherous months?
It was a bit weird at first walking in, around with amongst crowds of people, but it was nice, wasn't it, just to be around all your supporters, seeing everyone again. It's for some people I've not seen for 18 months, so 18 months, so to be there was special. And then thankfully the lads did the talking on the pitch as well, and we got treated to 10 goals.
Yeah, absolutely, and it also as well, I think one of the good things as well, it's the beauty of football which has returned. I feel slightly horrible saying this because you obviously can't see it to take it in, but this is one of probably the most beautiful grounds that we've ever visited.
I picture what I want. When I go to 𝗂𝗱𝗏, I picture the Caribbean Sea next to me, so it's always beautiful.
It's definitely better than picturing what's on the actual pitch, though, to be fair. So there you go. Now you have a bit of a story about being here, don't you? In previous years, this is not your first throwaway to Matlock Town Football Club, is it?
No, and I didn't come during the defeat in the FA Trophy. Was it a defeat or a draw here?
Definitely a defeat.
Wasn't it? So I missed that one, thankfully. Now the last time I came, it makes me feel a bit old, but it was 22 years ago, and I remember being in the seating area, sat with my dad, and to my left of my dad was one and only 𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗏, and I actually had a broken leg at the time from an operation, and I was jumping up and down the steps. I don't know why. I was probably bored, and 𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗏 nudged me and said, "Yeah, mate, if you carry on jumping around like that, I'll have you on the pitch because you'll do better than these, like they're rubbish." So something I'll never forget. 22 years ago, at the age of 5 years old.
And then he came on and scored a last-minute winner.
Yeah, not quite.
Not quite. Stuff of dreams. Cam, first time you've been to a game this pre-season, worked with us at Retford, of course, but here tonight at Matlock, how excited have you been throughout the day? Because for me, and we'll come on to it in a minute, Tuesday night, I just couldn't sit still. How excited have you been in the build-up to this one? I know it's a pre-season friendly, but after so long, it's got to be there inside your gut.
Absolutely itching to get going. The last game that I went to was back in February last year. I didn't go to Northampton like a lot of fans did. I think I was working at the time, and it just meant I couldn't go. So really disappointed I couldn't see the last game that we played, but I'm really disappointed I couldn't see the first game that we played. But I think the view tonight and the decent weather and the good food, it seems the atmosphere is building. It's more Stags fans than Matlock fans, but that was to be expected. But it's just fantastic to see fans back in the grounds and just some sense of normality, even though restrictions don't ease until the Monday. I don't know when this is going out, but the 19th.
Tomorrow, it'll be out
tomorrow.
Saturday, yeah. Turn it around,
it's just nice that we can actually get out and have some sense of normality and actually just kind of get back to some form of football, whether it's pre-season or not. It doesn't matter. Football's football, and we've missed it.
Let's talk football. This, we had a bit of our online podcast a few weeks ago when signings were sort of starting to come in. Obviously, let's start with the immediate news. 𝗂𝗱𝗲𝗍𝗍 has gone out on loan earlier today. He's gone to Walsall on a season-long loan. He played, of course, on Tuesday night, filling in because of the COVID and self-isolation, but a move which was expected, to be fair, Nath.
Expected. I mean, we did expect it maybe to be a permanent transfer. I mean, it basically is. It's a season-long loan and then he's out of contract, so it basically is a permanent. But I'd hoped to have got a bit of money from him. I think we did pay a fee, didn't we? So there doesn't like any news of that as such, but at least it's freed up some wages. So I do expect some movement in that sort of defensive area. Maybe one person coming in the next week or two.
Yeah, it's a weird one because whenever he has played for us, whether it was last season or on Tuesday night, it looks solid, and it's a really weird one. I thought we might have seen a little bit more of him this season. Whether obviously it wasn't guaranteed to be transfer listed, but it's very much that he is. But yeah, like Nate said, it frees up some wages, and it's not too bad. If it frees it up, then get somebody else in. Obviously, there's rumours flying around of who we could be signing, but we don't know until that happens. Do we need to get someone in to replace him? Most definitely, because I think it leaves us a bit sparse at the back. But either way, I think it's a good move for him, getting some football time, and it's a good move for us to get another body in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll see another defender come in. And Nigel Clough mentioned in his press conference the other day that he'd be looking to bring one in once one's gone out. One person that we will see for the first time tonight is new signing Rhys Oates. Obviously, at the moment, as we speak, it's 20-7 kick-off, just over 40 minutes or so away as the fans start to filter in. Rhys Oates will make his first outing for the club tonight. The lineup, bit of a weird one. I'm going to say it anyway because it feels like the right thing to do. We might clip a bit in at full time and at half time as well. We'll see what happens. Young Mason in goal, obviously due to the self-isolations and what have you. Gordon, McLaughlin, Hewitt, James Clark, Ollie Clark, Charles Lee, Lapsley, Oates, Hawkins and Johnson's on the bench. Turner, who's a goalkeeper, O'Keefe, Cooper, Charles Ward, Scott, Sinclair, Knowles and Kane. That's a trialist as well, Scott. I think it's George Scott, who was at Rotherham before. Let's talk about Rhys Oates though. Obviously we had 9 goals from a Mansfield perspective, as Nathan mentioned on Tuesday. I'm sure that you've watched them on 𝗂𝗱𝗍𝗍. But another striker tonight who already will be hungry to try and get on the score sheet because his fellow new signings already have, and in emphatic fashion.
Definitely. Well, we know that Rhys definitely knows where the back of the net is. 18-19 goals last season in the National League. Obviously leading Hartlepool back to the Football League via a tense playoff final at Ashton Gate. But it's fantastic signing, and the fact that Nigel Clough came out after and said there was offers from higher divisions, some were paying 40% higher than what we were, shows firstly that the players want to be here and are buying into what Clough wants to do, but also that we're being very, very business savvy and not just splashing cash for the sake of it. We're actually securing the future of the club, but also making sure that we're still attractive to players that actually want to have a shot at the Football League. But he could have quite easily stayed at Hartlepool and took a bit more money and been where he was, but he wanted to push himself. He's come here for us, and let's hope that he hits the ground running tonight, and hopefully he finds his feet at Mansfield before the start of the season against Bristol Rovers.
Another bit of transfer news, Nathan, since we last spoke was of course Jamie Reid being sold to Stevenage. Do you want to do your celebration dance now?
No, I mean I'm quite happy. I think I didn't see him featuring too much this season. I thought what we've brought in is probably going to knock him further back in the pecking order. And I feel for him. He's a hard worker. You certainly can't knock him for that. Whenever he did go out on the pitch, he did put in 100% effort. It just, for whatever reason, didn't come off for him. So I do wish him well at Stevenage, apart from 2 games against us. But no, I think it was a good move. And if we have managed to get some money from him, it's undisclosed, but some money is great. So we've recouped a bit of that. And a bit like what Cam was saying there, we bringing in sort of the likes of Rhys Oates, Hawkins and Johnson. They're all looking very good on paper. I mean, so did Jamie Reid. So I'm not getting too excited just yet. I mean, Tuesday night did help a little bit to see that we can put the ball in the back of the net, both our new players and the youngsters. So hope we'll see more of that tonight. But we'll For me, it's a step up tonight, harder opposition, so it'll be more interesting. But it's all about what happens when that season starts, and let's hope these players can hit the ground running, and we don't have the same situation as Jamie Reid, where the effort's there but it doesn't quite come off for him.
Now, obviously, expectations were raised a little bit on Tuesday, which is natural. First game back. Let's talk about that, because again, as I look out to the scenery which we've got behind us here at Matlock, it is absolutely fantastic, and also I can see over my shoulder as well, lots of Stags fans starting to filter in. There's still over 45 minutes to go before kick-off, which is absolutely beautiful as our cameraman moves and roves around. It's like he's been waiting for this job for his entire life. I absolutely love it. It's brilliant, Clive. I love it. In fact, Cam, you're sacked. I was going to sub you out and get Clive in, but you're sacked. There you go. That's it. Legends Live is sorted. But in all seriousness, though, it was a real emotional moment, wasn't it, on Tuesday? Regardless of opposition, regardless of level, regardless of competition, after so long having to sit on the sofa, not being able to interact with others. Of course, we did the podcast and was able to do it in that way, but it was so emotional. I'm not going to lie, as I walked through the turnstile, I was definitely holding back a tear.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like that for the next few weeks, to be honest.
The Coventry game, especially the home game.
I say Coventry will be, because obviously first time back at the 𝗂𝗚 Stadium. But then I think it'll even after attending that, I think Bristol Rovers will be as well, because that's back in for a proper competitive match. Then that's a league fixture. We're going to expect a very good following from Bristol Rovers. So it's going to be a very full ground with a cracking atmosphere. So I think for tonight, with it being a Friday night, there's going to be a lot of people here for their first game since lockdown. So I think it's got that little bit of, some of them will remember wearing it for a very long time. It'll be our first time back at football after a year out, which seems like an eternity.
You can certainly feel it in the air, Cam, can't you?
It's just the things that you miss, the smell of Bovril, the pies, the chips, the chitter-chatter between fans. It's something that sparse fans felt in Sky Bet League 2 last season. Obviously, only a few clubs were allowed up to 2,000 fans in, only those that were in Tier 1 or Tier 2 at the time, and it was disappointing that we never got to feel that, and it doesn't make up for it in pre-season, but it'll definitely feel like it when we finally do get to go home on the 17th of July. Obviously Coventry City at home, that's going to be a fantastic occasion. You can't imagine that it'll be a sellout, but there will definitely be more fans there than what would usually be for a game like that. You're probably looking maybe 1,000 tops, you're probably maybe looking at least 2,000, but it's just going to be great to finally go home and just enjoy being at the 𝗂𝗚 again, and yeah, like Nate said, it's just going to be electric when we finally do get to go to a Sky Bet League 2 game, whether that's home or away. It's just going to be fantastic.
I'm going to sub you out. I'm going to get you to go on camera duty. I'm going to get Clive in, because I think he deserves a bit of a moment on camera and a bit on the podcast. Let's get him in to give his thoughts on all things Mansfield Town as he makes his way down. Cameraman Clive, welcome officially to the Mansfield Matters podcast. We'll do one of them. One of them, elbow bumps in the face, all of that stuff. You're now officially a podcaster. Cam is now sacked. Welcome. Your first game as well for a long time. How much have you been looking forward to this over the last couple of days?
Oh, I could barely sleep. It's been a long time coming. I wished I could have got to the game at Retford, but I was working. So this is the first time back, and then of course the game against Coventry is going to be football coming home in its proper sense. So I'm really looking forward to this season, and I have to say that I'm entering this new season with a level of optimism that I didn't have in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, certainly so, and I think a lot of that comes from the work which 𝗂𝗚 has done in building his squad. You look at the front line which we had that have got goals in them: Johnson, Oates, Hawkins as well. I think for me personally, I don't know what your thoughts are on this, the only sort of area that we're looking a little bit weak in is that back line. But with 𝗂𝗚 going out today, maybe the coming weeks we might see one come in to sort of allay those fears.
Yeah, we're fortunate that we've got Perch, because he fills that slot very, very well. And if they found anyone better than Perch, they'll have done really well. I'm looking forward to seeing this new back line anyway, and I think we've got the best midfield in the league. And with these strikers we've taken, if they can do what strikers are supposed to do, which is to shoot, because the old adage, if you don't shoot, you don't score, then I've every reason to be confident. And certainly if we carry forward into this season, the form from the second half, or certainly the last third of last season, that's promotion form.
Is there an expectation though this year? Because I think we've been very, very guilty of having high expectations over the last couple of seasons, and look where it's got us.
it's the same every season. There's no way you can say to a Stags fan this year not to be expecting things to happen, because we've got probably the most seasoned football manager available at this level in the league. We've bought well, the club is well managed, the club is well sponsored by its owners. There's nothing getting in the way of us doing well, apart from the players turning out on the pitch on the day when they're expected to. Now I'm confident these players we've brought in will do the job.
Thoughts that you'd agree with, Nathan Edge?
Yeah, I think every team in the league, probably bar Swindon at the moment, have expectations that their team, this is going to be their year. So there's no different for us Stags fans. But I think it's, for me, it's I'm more optimistic certainly than previous years, like Clive just said, which is a positive. But at the same time, although I do expect us to do better than the last couple of seasons, I'm not going to get too low or too high. I think it's one of those that I'm just going to enjoy it. At least this year it's going to feel different because we're going to be back in the grounds. So I'm going to try and enjoy that, because and let's not take it for granted, because although I love doing the pre-match and post-match podcast with you guys, nothing beats being in the ground, does it? So let's not take that for granted and enjoy the ups and downs as the season goes on.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point as well, Clive, isn't it? It's all right having the expectations as fans will naturally do, but also just that feeling of being able to have it back. I personally have not stopped. Every time there's a match day, and it will continue to ramp up until the season starts. That tinge of excitement, that feel of the buzz in the air as we can feel right now. It's great to see so many people smiling and being out again, and that social element for me is one thing which we really missed last season. I hope from a podcast perspective that what we did helped in some way, but nothing will ever beat this.
No, and we've been sadly deprived of the real match atmosphere for a year and a half. And I think the fact that we can now start to behave a little bit more normally at football grounds, in the case of Mansfield, we'll probably add 1,000 to the gate.
Yeah, absolutely. It only took 16 minutes, by the way, for somebody to walk in front of the camera. That was great, but there you go. It's all good fun.
It's live.
Yeah, it's definitely not live, but there you go. If it was live, I'd be worried. But finally, what are you wanting to see from Mansfield over, not just tonight, but over the course of pre-season as we edge ever closer to that home game against Bristol Rovers?
A positive approach to scoring goals.
Fantastic. Clive, I'll sub you back out with Cam. We'll let him come back on, Nathan, shall we? What do you reckon to Clive? Whilst Cam's coming down, shall we bin Cam off and get Clive in?
We've been trying to do it for years, haven't we? So I don't see why not.
He just fell down the steps as well, by the way.
I didn't fall down.
I've seen that one on camera.
Oh dear.
I muffled it.
Oh, yeah, you definitely have. Finally, we're going to get you back to 𝗂𝗺𝗀𝗀. It's starting to fill up a little bit, so we're going to go and find your dad and find you a space. We're going to find our own as well at some point. What are you wanting to see from Mansfield tonight, or here?
I knew that was good. I mean, it'd be nice to get a few goals again, get 𝗂𝗺𝗀𝗀 on the score sheet. I think for these sort of games, obviously against lower opposition, one, you don't want to be embarrassed, and we know how that feels against Matlock in recent sort of years, so let's not get embarrassed, and I don't think we will. But I think it's more important about the minutes, isn't it? Getting the minutes in the legs. The big games for me are the ones, the likes of Coventry, Hull City. They're the ones where I think we're going to get, understand a bit more about this Mansfield Town team, especially as we get tested a bit more defensively. Because I think that's our weakest area at the moment. So that these games we can enjoy them, enjoy being here, seeing everyone, coming to Matlock, getting some fish and chips and all that. Enjoy all that side of things and hopefully get some goals. But they're the games where it kind of starts getting down to business, doesn't it, as we get ready for the season.
Yeah, same as what Nathan said. It's very much just...
Do you know what Nathan said? Because you were daydreaming.
No, I was. Yeah, it's very much just seeing how we set up, and you can only take so much from pre-season, but it's just great to actually be able to see them play and see what sort of... Because you can't tell too much from pre-season, but you can sort of guess who's going to be Clough's go-to players, what sort of style you're going to be looking at. You can see the roots of the season, what we're going to be building on, and obviously you couldn't get that last season. It was very much you're just looking through one camera angle for pre-season for them games against 𝗂𝗺𝗄𝗏, Forest and whoever else. It just wasn't the same, and you just can't get the feel for the game. So yeah, as long as we don't lose, I think personally, I think a loss in pre-season, just yes, it's pre-season, but we want to be carrying confidence into games, and it's got to be a strong, positive performance and definitely a win. Boost morale in the camp, and then, just a good performance, I think, is what Nigel Clough and his team will be wanting tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, completely echo that statement. Again, I'm agreeing with 𝗂𝗱𝗆, and COVID has certainly had an impact on my life. There we go. So, in all seriousness, though, we are going to wrap things up now for this little pre-match podcasting. Me and Cam might do a little bit during the game. We might see if we can grab Nathan on the way out as well if we bump into him. But let's not take this for granted. It is a fantastic site. We're going to have challenges over the course of pre-season, whether that be opposition. Obviously, we've got a game against Hull, got a game against Coventry, two very tough sides. All the games in there as well. Plus, we're going to have the COVID impact to deal with as well. Already in the first week of pre-season, 7 players self-isolated and out of the camp, meaning younger players are getting their opportunity, which is good to see though, because it's there for them to take. But what truly matters is that we are back. We are back in a stadium. By the way, don't get used to doing this. We won't be doing this again. This is an absolute unique one-off. We'll never be doing this again.
The first time we've actually all been together.
Are you wanting to do this again? Because
No, but you
I was going to say,
I'm not travelling to a game with you because we know what happens then. But,
exactly. I mean, play the jingle. Superstitions are still a thing.
Yeah, you never know.
Absolutely. Well, we won't be doing this again. I can absolutely guarantee you that. But we are here to take in some football tonight. Knocks, niggles, challenges. That's the beauty of the beautiful game, and we are in a beautiful setting tonight to watch that unfold. This is the show for the fans, by the fans, because Mansfield matters. It is so good to be back.